Hello everyone, this is K-Pizza here. I'm a guest here at PML and I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on how I made one of my tracks called Lunacy. This is what the project file sounds like. You can also buy this project file, the link is in the description. Let's give it a listen. Alright, so as I said, in this video we're going to focus especially on this instruments group. So when I solo this group now, it will only play instruments such as the piano, strings, the pluck sounds, the guitars. And this is what they sound like when soloed. So we're going to take a look at all these instruments and we're going to make them from scratch, basically. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright, so when you load up Ableton at first, don't worry if you're a beginner, I'll just explain everything. So you'll have at first 4 tracks loaded up. You can delete all these 3 tracks by selecting them and pressing delete. Make sure you're in the arrangement view. Just press tab to go into this horizontal view. So in the description there is a link with all the MIDI files necessary to make this track and all the samples also, so go ahead and grab it before we get started. Let's first set the tempo to 130 by clicking in here, typing in 130. Let's just go into the folder. So let's go in there, grab the grand piano, which we will make at first. Let's just drag it onto the first MIDI track. You don't have to import the tempo, click no. Alright, so we've got the MIDI file loaded up. First of all, if you've got the suite pack of Ableton Live, you will have, if you type in then grand piano and select instruments, you'll see under instrument rack, piano and keys, there is a grand piano. You can drag it onto the MIDI track and you can play the track, so this should sound like by now. So originally the track started from this clip, this piano loop. What we can do to make it sound better, more mysterious kind of, so we can drag a reverb, for example, onto it. Let's just go into audio effects, select a reverb, it's in here, double click it, it's automatically loaded up. Let's see what it sounds like now. Sounds fine. Let's just load up a chorus onto it, double click chorus, hear what it sounds like. Let's bring down the dry wet knob a little bit, just adjusting the modulation thing. Just bringing up the volume. Right, that's all I did basically for the piano. Let's just insert a new MIDI track, right click anywhere in this gray area, click insert MIDI track. Next thing, we will take a look at strings. So let's just go into the folder, let's take strings, the MIDI file, drag it onto the track, don't load up the tempo, trim it, and let's load a operator onto this track. It's here. So this is what it should sound like by default. It's not so interesting. So, alright, so let's take a look at this synth. Let's just turn off the B oscillator. Let's put the synth into parallel mode, I guess, that's what it's called, so that all the oscillators are playing independently. They don't go one into another, they just play independently. So let's leave the first one as it is. Let's turn off the filter, that's important. This is what it should sound like by now. Let's just turn on the second oscillator, change it to Sol 64 as well. Sol 64, bring up the level like this. Let's just fine tune it to 1000 so that it's playing an octave higher. So this is what it should sound like by now. Not so interesting. Let's just drag the envelopes, bring up the attack on both of the oscillators. Even more, not too much, like 3 seconds, let's say. Sounds fine. Now, if you don't have EQ8 already on the track, you can just search for EQ8 on audio effects. EQ8, you can just drag it in here. Alright, let's just cut off some of the low end. Let's just cut off some of the very high end with this kind of filter. Even more of the low end, and let's take some reverb onto it. Let's bring the dry wet knob to 100%. It already sounds good. Let's take an auto filter. Don't worry if you don't have this option right here, which is called morphing. You don't have to use it, it's just a fancy effect. But if you've got the latest version of Ableton, you will have it. So set the filter like this at first. Click this button in here so that you will have the morph knob activated. And let's see, when we'll play the track and I will just move the morph knob so that you'll hear what it sounds like when I'm moving it. So it's creating a very nice filtering effect. A weird one, but I like it personally. So you can automate this one. Click on it, red line should appear in here. Click on it, and just set the automation of this knob however you like. I like it like this. So when you play it now, it will just move the button, will just move the knob for you. Yeah, that sounds good. That's all I did for the strings. Now let's insert a new audio track this time. Let's just drag the guitar file. It's the guitar I recorded on my own. So let's just drag it in here. And this is what it sounds like without any filtering. Just me basically playing guitar. So let's drag an EQ8 onto it. Let's put a low pass filter on it so that we're removing the very low end so it doesn't sound muddy. If you want to check what the sounds that we have cut off already, what they sound like, you can press this button here and just moving around with the filter. So we're basically cutting off the mat of the guitar sound. So let's just now, for a better atmosphere, let's take a reverb, drag it on. Every reverb's got a filter built in already, so we can cut off some of the low end. Set it like this, for example. Yeah, we can bring up the decay time a little bit. Sounds fine. We can add an effect called a ping pong delay. Double click it. Let's set the feedback lower. I'll drive that knob a little lower. Even less of the feedback. So yeah, this is what it sounds like altogether. All these three instruments that we have created already. It sounds fine to me. So next thing we'll do, inserting a new MIDI track, dragging onto this track a pluck fast, for example, whichever one you like at first. We'll drag both of them anyway. What I did right now, I just cropped the file, the MIDI file, like this, and I clicked Command D to duplicate it. And what we can even do now is hold Shift, select both of these clips, right click on the top area of these clips, click Consolidate, and it's a one clip right now. Right, so what we'll do right now, we will drag an operator from Instruments, double clicking operator, turning off the second oscillator, turning off the filter. This is what it sounds like right now. Doesn't sound too good to me, so first of all, let's just select the parallel mode, just as we did with the strings, selecting SAW64 as the first oscillator, leaving it. Second oscillator, let's make it a square 64. Third oscillator, let's make it a square 64 as well. Fourth oscillator, let's make it a SAW64. Here it is. So I've already spent some time experimenting with the levels, so I'll just tell you what the numbers are so we don't have to mess around too much with it. Let's turn it to minus 9.5, first one, minus 9.5, second one, minus 2.2, minus 2.2, third one, minus 8.6, minus 8.6, fourth one, minus 8.1, minus 8.1. You can just click on every of these knobs and just typing in the numbers you want. And just adjusting the fine-tuning of these oscillators. Second one, let's say it to 5, set it to 5. Third one to 995. Fourth one to 10. Yeah, so it should sound like this by now. Sounds better, but it's still not a pluck sound. So what we'll do right now, just dragging an EQ8 onto the track, cutting off low end, setting it like this, and cutting off some of the high end. And what we'll do now is we will automate this filter so that it's moving when playing every note. You have to select the frequency knob at first. So let's draw an automation line like this, and it goes even here. Let's say like this. And I will just expand the automation, and I'll just select the thing that I have already drawn and copying it onto all of the notes. For example, onto this area only. Just selecting this area, clicking Command D to duplicate it a couple of times. Let's hear what it sounds like now. It's already a pluck sound because we are moving with the filter. So it sounds good, but I would like some more of the high end, to be honest. So let's just set it like this. You can cool thing you can do is setting the cursor or whatever in here, clicking in here, shift right arrow. So that's a fancy way of selecting things, and then clicking Command D to duplicate this. So this is what it sounds like. And you may hear, if you're on headphones, then you may hear that we have some of the low end still playing in there, and it's kind of muddy, so we can add a new EQ8 onto it, a new EQ8. Let's just cut off some more of the low end. Sounds fine. If we can even turn up the very high end. Alright, so next thing. Just copy it over to the whole clip. This area of automation. Like this, clicking Command D. Next thing, we will drag a reverb onto this track. Sounds good. Let's drag a phaser onto it. Phaser in here, double clicking it. And the reverb's got some of the muddy low end, so we'll just cut it off. It sounds good. Right, so another thing I did is I duplicated this track, this pluck sound, and I deleted this effect, this EQ8. I put a low pass filter onto this synth. So just following the other track, it should sound like this by now. And what I did is I messed around with the envelopes of all of these oscillators so that it sounds like this. Maybe even bringing up the filter a little bit. It just gives some more of the punchy attack to this pluck sound. I like it, to be honest. You can mess around with this operator synth. You don't have to do it exactly as I did. So these are basically all the instruments for the first part. We will mess around with the arrangement a little bit later on. I think one thing you can do right now to group all of these tracks, and you can select the first track, hold Shift, select the fifth track. You'll select all of them and just right-clicking it, clicking Group Tracks, and now you've got it all into one group. So we will call it Command R Instruments. Alright, so of course you can change all the colors as you like. So let's rename this one to Guitar so that we know what's going on. Let's rename this thing to, let's say, Pluck 1. Rename this thing to Pluck 2. Right? Yeah, that'll be all for today's part. Let me know what you think about it. I will just explain the arrangement and the drums part in later videos. So that's all, signing off. It was K Pizza bringing you a tutorial on how I made the Lunacy track.